Futures Trading. I'd like to welcome you to the channel. I was going to make yesterday's video the last video, but I ended up adding these two social platforms. I've had social platforms up here before, but I got rid of them because I'm not online a lot. All right, so and you can kind of tell that I had been here for this week, but I take breaks. All right, so but I did add that because sometimes it may be easier for me to drop just a snapshot of something. And so again, I'm not always going to be up there. I want to go ahead and say that to you, as I won't always be here. But if you would like to follow me over there, you're more than welcome. I did that today. Me and my wife, we talked about it. And so I went on and just added that back. I'm just not here a lot. That's all. Most view videos, universal threshold. We'll take a look at the chart real quick. And then the price action trend, you just need to be able to count to 10. This is how far the bar pulled back. And then that price action method, I use the majority principle, which states that the minority is compelled to follow. And then that chart scale, I teach you how to use your hard right edge in order how to read the market. Santiago, thank you so much for coming back, man. I saw your message there, man. I'm so glad that you decided to come back and take a look. Um, I did do this too. I want to go ahead and say this to you guys before I get started. I made a indicator to kind of combine the circles, so it'll show up with the arrow there. I only have it on this chart though. It's not in the suite. I may add it later, but it's not there. I left it on the other charts though. So as we move forward, going into Sunday, because Sunday I'm gonna come back and give you more information. I definitely want to go ahead and tell you that. So be ready for it. I'll come back Sunday and we'll see, can we do this again for a whole week, given that the supports stay available. All right, so I know you guys had been liking the videos and commenting, and if we can keep that going, I'm all for sharing. All right, don't mind doing that. When it dies off, the views dies off, and the likes dies off, I take breaks. That's what I do. All right, because I like to make good with my time. All right, so I did that because on the 1 minute I have to come in here and actually point that stuff out to you, and it's so many of them in most cases that I can't bring myself to keep marking up the chart like that. So I just went on and just outlined it, and so I won't have to do it on the 1 minute. I did leave it on the other charts. And again, the circle here is the circle that's on the other charts. It's the circle that's on the other charts, but I combined it primarily with that arrow. That's the key, to try to get it to show up with the arrow. All right, the triangle. Try to get it to show up with the triangle, but here I just made this order to do that. So off of well, before it got started to the upside, let me go ahead and just share this with you guys. Before it got started, you saw how they hung out, just kind of hung out, but then they dropped down before 9:30. I'm gonna show you what that was. That was over here. That was over here on your, I believe it was on your 15 minutes. So yeah, it was the high of this bar. You can look up here in the upper left hand corner here. It has both signals. Okay, it has both signals. And of course the high of that is 566.50. All right, so 29,566.50. We're going to find a close here. Close 565.75. All right, so they just managed to stay right under there. And let me see what we got here. Close 561, and again the high of this is 566. So they just hung out right there just for a really long time, just giving everybody a problem before they took off. And of course in yesterday's video I told you guys that this bar was important. That's where we had left off over here. And of course in yesterday's video, let me scroll back to that so you can actually see it. And again, everything that has the circle around it is where both signals had came in at the same time. Let me go back because I want to make sure I show you where we were at, because we had drew up the chart just a bit and I didn't want to have to keep doing that. So I said, let me just go in and combine them signals. And so we left off over here. And as you can tell, just like the day before that on Tuesday, I drew out the chart scale for you, and because of where they were at in the chart scale, they ended up dropping. All right, so be sure to utilize that chart scale. I'll try my best to touch on it real quickly, but I don't want to hold the video long. That price level, remember I gave you guys that price level on Sunday. All right, on Sunday we talked about 97, 29, 750. All right, so we talked about that, and we also had this price level as well, which was that 28,994. So if you want to go back to Monday's video, if you want to go back to that, this video here, I don't know if you can see it in that thumbnail, but it was up there. I snapped the all of these is of the chart that we actually went over. You know that if you've been following me for any time, because I want you to keep record of what it is that I'm showing you. And so here, those price levels was important. They took that dive. I told you they had left something back here, and they took that dive, fell under that price. And I thought that they would stay under it because they accelerated. And I said that once they get there, you want to see how they build themselves. and they were accelerating, so it made me think that they would stay down. But to my surprise, once I, put the video out there, it turned around and it ended up going up. And then, of course, yesterday it did a little dive there, and then they turned it around. And so we left off here. And again, that 15-minute kind of held that steadiness in there, as well as this hourly. It was on the hourly too. Here's the signal here on the hourly, and the high of that was 635, and he just kept hitting it. Okay, again, the high, you can look in the upper hand corner, 29 635, and he just kept hitting it and held it down, as well as that 15-minute just kind of held it. But they didn't supposed to get past that bar. And again, this was from yesterday when I shot that video, and they managed to stay up. Now again, for those that don't know, whenever these circles come in, that's them wanting to give back. All right, so it's really important that they don't give back. I mean, really don't, but it's letting you know it's a possibility. All right, so it's important that they go ahead and close favorably in that direction so it can go ahead and go. But that's that give back situation. So they had one here and it popped back up, playing the backside. Now let's take a look at that, playing the backside of that price. All right, and again, I gave you that on Sunday. So it would I don't know, be nice if everyone knew that there's prices that's important to these guys before the market even moves. And again, I gave you that price on Sunday. They managed to leave from down here at 9:30. So here's 9:30 here. You already had the signal there. They dropped back into it and kind of just plotted you several more. Gave you one up here, but then they overshot it. They do not supposed to close above this bar, right? So they went above it, okay, but they didn't close, and then they turned around and they went down. You can kind of see they was getting weak here because they popped up and closed above that bar, and then they dropped back into this pivot. And try to follow the arrows if you can, and then they came back with it, okay, and now it's coming in right beside it. Definitely once it gets above it, you kind of know what we're doing. You don't want them closing under that bar. It just creates a problem. And then they came in here and they turned in there some more of them. And then when they got to that price, that 29,750, they got there, and here you are for hours, just using it for resistance. All right, just using it for resistance, kind of falling off the backside of it. All right, so we had several of them back here. They kind of dove down into that information there, and they're trying to turn the corner. You just don't want them closing under this bar with the signal. All right, because if they do that, that's just horrible. It's bad. It can lead to something else. All right, so I don't want to hold the video too long, but again, thank you so much, my friend, for coming back and taking a look at the information. I know you said that the information is easy, so we're definitely wanting to do that. We're wanting to make it easy. Let's click on this and just take a quick look. All right, so yeah, my friend, I appreciate you commenting. I appreciate each one of you that take the time to actually comment. But yes, it's simple. It is simple. I'm trying to give people information that can absolutely be repeated on the charts. I do have technical tools I provide. I do, because I code what I know, and there's over 300 of them. So clearly there's a lot of information in there. And these are just two of them. All right, so this is just two of them on this chart. Where's that push? All right, so this is just two. That circle and that little triangle, if you will. That's all it is. But you got to try to get them together. I know most people, they have a problem with the market because it always wants to come back. And so my indication is meant to help you know when that could happen and when they should stop. When this bar is important. Hey, don't let them back past this one, and let's just go. Again, I got tons of information to give people, man. But if you want to know what that price is, the people on my private playlist, you guys should know. All right, you should absolutely know what made me pick this price on Sunday, and it managed to be a price of interest as well as down here. I told you I didn't think they would close above this going into Sunday nor Monday. I said I don't know if they can do that. I didn't think that they would like over here. I didn't think they'll be able to pull that off straight away. But I knew that was a price of interest as well as that one below. But we didn't want them closing beneath here, and they didn't. They shot down and came right back off of it, and that's important. So and let me pull that daily in view. I got a daily here. I don't have anything on it, but they pulled down into that price level there. And pulled into that price. I'll just pull in the four chart. I don't have all the data up here. I don't need all that data and I don't need all the signals either. But they pulled right into that price level and turned it right back around. Okay, and yet they made it up there. They made it up there. Okay, so I'm trying to give you guys some information that you can begin to work with. Again, we don't have anything stopping us per se, unless they can get back past here. Now they may generate a signal between now and Sunday. Okay, so you got all of tomorrow to deal with this market. I'm not going to be back. Just try to keep this in mind. 29,299 and a quarter. Try to keep that in mind until Sunday, until I come back. Now, again, they can come with another signal if they want to. They absolutely can. They're here. They're here. I believe there's a chance they're going to reach up some more. I believe that. They just need to get through this. That's all. And so just try to take, I'm going to take and show you this one as well. Here's that 5 minute that came into that bottom. Again, you don't want them. You can trade in the direction of these circles, but sometimes they're going to give back. Definitely in chop. To me, these are like, yeah, if you're acting funny in chop, this is something that would help. But you want them to kind of go ahead and go with price. But the most important thing again is looking for the one with the actual triangle there. Try to go ahead and go with that one. So that's the 5 minute. Hopefully they can get back above that level and give that push again. Hopefully they can go ahead and get that done. Even if they did that, they're going to probably come back through here. I want to just say that to you. I can't guarantee you win, but let me take a look at this 1 minute. Let me just take a quick look. That looks okay. They got to go ahead and go though. They got to go ahead. They can come back past here. All right. So I just want to tell you that too. So just kind of keep this in mind. They can come back past this. I don't know when they plan to do that. All right. I don't know when they plan to do that, but they can definitely come back past that. We'll take a look at it on Sunday to see if they made it back in that direction. It's not to say this market can't stay up. I mean, it can stay up. It's just what I told you, and I believe it was Tuesday's video, and I said they'll be back when they did that nasty dive. I told, and they were up here, and I said, hey, they'll come back past that pivot, and they did just that. So when I look at this chart, that's what I'm seeing. And again, if you want to learn information like that, what can make me say those things, to be able to tell you they'll come back past this pivot, that this pivot is weak, that pivot is weak, they'll blow right through it, aim through it when they come back. I believe it was, I don't want to go too far, but I believe it was somewhere over here where they did that little spike down. It was a nasty little spike they did. If you guys been keeping up with me, man, I tell you, you'll get a hang of what it is that I'm referencing if you don't want to join the playlist. At least I would hope you would. You may not, but I would hope that you would if you watch the chart long enough. I've been doing this for a very long time, years, and there's a lot of reasons why I can tell you, hey, the market will come back past where they're turning from. And so, even though they'll give you the run, they'll give you that run. They absolutely will. But in most cases, they tend to play with you. That's all. Try to make it very difficult for you to stay in trades. All right, so I'm gonna just explain this really quickly. If you're new to trading, you want this bar's mid, the live candle, the one that's trading right now. You want that mid to exceed that bar's high, and should it do that, a pressure will come on. That's how you know you're coming out of chop, and vice versa. You want this mid to exceed that low. All right. Really simple stuff. All right, trying to help you get there. You want the mid to get above the high, that becomes the stop. You want the mid to get below that low, that becomes the stop. This bar here. And if you can't find that, this is the very next thing that you would want to look for. See, they didn't get that mid above there. If it did, it would have gave you that signal. And then of course, well, it would have fired off that pressure, and the bar would have turned green. All right, so you want a big wick, little wick. All right, you want to find that in the chart. And if you can't find that, this is what I want you to find. Find a candle with a body that can fit in there at least twice. All right, you want the body to fit in there at least twice. That's the three different ways majority will absolutely show up on your chart. And should you be able to find that, I want to let you know is absolutely just wonderful if you can get that to go. Let's see, can we find this one? See, there's one right here. All right, there's a wick, no wick. This body can fit in there twice. The mid got above that high. That means that they can go this far. All we do is listen to the market. That's all we do. That means it can get up to there. So that'll be right back across that price line there. So that's how far it's suggesting that it can go. It's actually coming on again. And if they finish this scenario, it'll be that same setup. You got a big wick, hardly any wick under there. The mid is currently above this bar's high, which is fantastic. That body can fit in there twice. Wonderful. Now, when it comes to the chart scale, the thing that you want, yeah, that's all of it. That's just meaning, the same thing like they're heading up there. Hopefully they can make it. Chart scale, I'll touch on it just briefly. You get the center of the chart here. And I'm going estimation here. This is not perfect. All right. I actually provide you a chart scale to put on a full screen chart when you come over to the private community where you don't have to draw it. It'll automatically be on your chart. And I'll give you a different chart scale that has a little bit more information on it that's not so simple and straightforward. There's a little bit more information that you can actually have on your chart that's helpful. That's all. It's very helpful. This the upper part of the chart. You want to divide that in half as well. And then we're going to get this lower half of the chart. Again, I got a lot of stuff running, so just bear with me. You get the lower, I don't think they're going to come all the way back here if they're going to honor that distance there. You get the lower half of the chart down here, and I'm going to just color this red. Now, I've done this 3 times this week, showed you the chart scale on this compressed down chart, and came right back and well, this will be the third time. Came right back and we looked at it the next day and it ran away from where I drew this. So please do not underestimate the power of your bezel. All right, so they give you this frame to hold this picture. That's all this is. It's a moving picture. It's fluid, but it's a picture nonetheless. It's something you're witnessing, something that you're experiencing emotionally, but or intellectually as well, because it makes you feel some type of way. It's involuntary, but I want to tell you, you're witnessing it. So do know whatever's happening on this hard right edge, it will show up on the left side of your chart. All right, just try to keep that in mind. All right, so that's my time with you. I absolutely wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.